I grew up in a home of sexual abuse. I grew up in a home of my parents giving me drugs and alcohol. I didn't really have anybody that I could tell that to. You know, I always thought that was just my burden to carry, the loneliness of having to carry it. Well, what if I do get in trouble? I believe that's where most of our addictions come from, is from trauma that's happened in our lives as young children. Even a loss of a loved one can cause trauma, or to see physical violence, you know, or sexual abuse, or your parents using can be a trauma to you in your life.
As a baby, they'd put whiskey on your gums for teething or help you to sleep, put it in your bottle. I had uncles that thought it was funny to hand the toddler a beer. Sneaking beer as a kid. Full-fledged alcoholic by the time I was 16. Got my first DUI at 17. And for 27 years, I was an alcoholic. 2012, my stepdad had passed away, and he was my dad since I was 3. And it hit me a lot harder than I thought. I went from just drinking beer to drinking the hard liquor. That lasted about 4 years. My wife left me the day after our 20th anniversary. She packed my kids up and she left. I tried weaning myself off of the vodka, and I got sick, bad sick. So I called my mom and said, take me to the ER. And I spent 10 days in detox. I don't remember much of it because they kept me sedated. They had told my mom that they didn't know if I was going to live or die. I'd been to other rehabs and I'd tried to quit drinking before, but I couldn't ever do it. And I went to court one day, and the judge asked me if I had found a place to go for treatment. I told him, no, not yet. He said, well, if you don't have at least a letter saying that you're waiting on a bed by next court, I've got a bed for you. And I knew what that meant. So I got serious about calling Kane. When I got to the ranch, I was 162 pounds. I was having to use a cane to walk. I couldn't hardly do anything, so he let me be the cook at the house. And we were running out of food. The budget wasn't very good back then, and I was even having to put hamburger meat in the gravy to have some kind of meat for breakfast. And I was telling one of the guys, I said, man, we're out of breakfast meat. We don't have nothing for breakfast. He said, pray about it. Yeah. I said, okay, I'll pray about it. And I did. About 3 hours later, one of the guys that was in the program backed up to the freezers with a pickup load of pork that had been ground up, sausage, bacon, and ham. And that's what opened my eyes. So that night I laying in bed, I told God, I said, I've tried it my way. I'll try it your way. You can feel the presence of the Lord when you come across them gates there. You knew you was in a safe area. My wife's brakes went out on her car. She asked if I could come home and put brakes on it, and Kane let me in. We started talking, and when it come time to graduate, I got to go home. I got my wife and my kids back. And that wasn't me, that was the Lord. I couldn't restore it. I tried. I just had to let go and let Him do it. I had to get out of His way. I tell the guys it's the easiest and the hardest thing you'll ever do. Submit. Because you want to hang on to your pride, your ego, your honor. But if you'll just turn it over to the Lord, He'll see your way through.